Look, let's face it, the Golden State Warriors are not that good of a team right now. And I think they have, honestly, what I would call almost an impossible dilemma to deal with for the rest of the season as we progress towards the trade deadline. You have Steph Curry and to a lesser extent Draymond Green, two guys who are incredible veterans and have been just absolutely massive parts of your franchise. Two of probably the five most important Warriors of all time, in all honesty. And Steph is obviously number one. Like, this franchise has been incredible for the past decade. But at this point, this team doesn't look like a real competitive squad. I mean, in all honesty, they're a play-in team at best. Like, they've lost 17 of the last 25 games. There's a lot about this team to be concerned about, but they do still have, I would say, a good amount of resilience and fight left in them. They've had some good wins. They've had some good moments. I just wonder, like, they have a choice to make here. They either rebuild, or they kind of push the chips to the center of the table and go maybe not all in, but mostly in, and try to take advantage of the last couple of years of Steph Curry's career. And there has been recent conversations. NBA Central reported yesterday, as y'all watched this video, that the Warriors are interested in Vucevic, John Collins, Jonas Valanciunas, Robert Williams. Here's my problem. As much as I think Vucevic would be really nice for them in terms of some of their spacing problems and things of that nature, and even some of these other guys who are capable shooters besides Rob Williams, and John Collins is having a really good year scoring the ball and shooting the ball offensively, I don't know if this number one does much for you defensively, and number two, it's not a big enough move to make a huge difference. I don't think. Like, if they can get Vucevic for the equivalent of pretty much nothing, maybe that moves the needle. But how much does it move the needle is my question. Even if you're not giving up anything that's really an important part of your rotation. And look, I think the Warriors have some options. Like, let's say the Suns made Kevin Durant available. As crazy as it is to say, I think Draymond and KD, I think they could probably get over it. Like, that would be an interesting move. He fits the timeline. Realistically, Kuminga, Buddy Hield, a couple other guys to match salary, and 3 first-round picks. Is that getting the job done? Maybe. There might be an argument to be made. You include Moses Moody, who's a young talent with some intrigue to him still. Like, is it possible that type of move is something the Suns would consider? Maybe. And there's a part of me that makes me think maybe they should consider trying to pursue that type of move. Now, they don't seem particularly interested in Jimmy Butler, which I don't blame them. I wouldn't be all that interested in Jimmy Butler either. A guy like Zion, who I think is theoretically on some people's minds as a potential trade target, is not a guy who's going to fit. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox does not fit next to Steph and Dennis Schroeder, who they already traded for this year. Doesn't make a lot of sense there. Like, there's clearly some question marks with a lot of the stars that they are trying to pursue. But at the same time, I'm really intrigued to see about the possibilities that this team could pursue at the trade deadline, because while I don't think Valanciunas, John Collins, Robert Williams are really needle movers, Vucevic might be. Like, he has the potential, I think, offensively to really transform this team, because you look at what they're doing this season. Offensively, they're bad. They're 20th in the league in offensive rating, and it is really holding back a team that's really not bad defensively. A 110.9 defensive rating, 9th best in basketball. Like, for the season, they're not bad defensively. It's the offense that's holding them back, which is fascinating. But again, since this New Orleans win, they have lost 17 of their last 25 games. That's not sustainable at all. And like, that keeps happening. They're 20-20 right now. They were just under 500. They got out a win 2 days ago against the Timberwolves, and credit to them, that was a big win, and they should get another win here against Washington on Saturday. But it's not going to get easier. I mean, the Western Conference is loaded. You're going to have to go play Boston, then in Los Angeles, then OKC, Phoenix, Los Angeles again, Orlando, Milwaukee, Dallas again, Sacramento, Orlando. I mean, they actually have some decent matchups. They got Charlotte a couple times, Brooklyn, Chicago a couple times, Washington. Like, the schedule does shape up for the Western Conference anyway, I think relatively decently as this season progresses, but at least for the next month or so, maybe it's not quite as hard. But this is a make or break time for this Warriors team, because as of right now, with the exception of Steph, who himself is having a little bit of a down year, he's not scoring on the same volume that he has for the last several seasons. You're looking at a guy who, I mean, look, he's playing amazing, but Andrew Wiggins has been pretty good. He's 17 points, 39% from 3 has been solid this year. Draymond has not shot the ball well as of late, but for the season, 36%, not that bad. Schroeder he's been here for 15 games, and he's kind of been a disaster. Not at all what they were expecting from him shooting the ball in terms of his efficiency overall. As a Warrior so far, the 4.5 assists, 2.1 turnover. I mean, it's not terrible, but he's just not been quite what they expected. Kuminga has real trade value still around the league, but doesn't seem to really fit what the Warriors do. He's averaging 17 a game, 34.5% from 3, but I just don't love the Kuminga fit, and I really never have. And Podziemski's been awful. Man, I bet they wish they had included him in Lauri Markkanen talks. Buddy Hield started the season amazing and ever since has kind of just been a non-factor. Trace Jackson Davis is fine, but nothing special. DeAnthony Melton's out for the year. They could really use him, but he's out for the season. Oh, they traded him anyway. I'm sorry. They traded him to the Nets, but they really could have used a player like DeAnthony Melton on this roster still. Moses Moody's nice, and I think he should be playing more than he does, to be honest, but he is kind of a one-dimensional player, mainly just a meh scorer and a decent defender, but not much off the dribble with him at all. Looney has gotten worse the last couple seasons. Gary Payton's pretty much unplayable. Like, you go up and down the roster, it's just not great. Kyle Anderson's a good vet, but he's certainly not a guy you can rely on to play huge minutes, I don't believe, at this point in his career. Like, I don't know, y'all. Maybe you disagree with me, but I just don't love what I'm seeing out of this team so far this season, especially over those last couple months. Like, you just wonder what the path towards contention is, because I think there is. I mean, look, you look at 2-point efficiency. They're the third least efficient 2-point team in the league. They shoot the third least free throws in the league. Like, those stats concern me. They don't get to the rim and they don't get free throws, and they're not a good enough 3-point shooting team to overcome that. Because you look at the 3-point percentage, realistically, I mean, they're shooting the 4th most threes in the league, but they're only shooting them at about a league average clip. 36.6 isn't terrible, but it's not great either. Like, it's a pretty league average, pretty standard number. And when you're that inefficient inside the paint, it leads to what has clearly been a bad offense. Like, plain and simple. That is just the facts of the matter. And as much as that sucks to say about a team that's been generational offensively for so long, they have to find a way to get Steph help. And if they're not going to do that, then it's just over in Golden State. And look, it's not a failure, and it's honestly not even really a disappointment. They won 4 freaking championships, including an extra one after everybody thought they were already done winning championships. But at this point, this is a team that would not be a shocker to miss the play-in with the way that they've played over their past 25 games. Even if they do make the play-in, wouldn't be shocked to see them miss the playoffs. And they just haven't been impressive enough as of late. Like, it's the honest truth. I just haven't seen enough out of the Golden State Warriors over the past couple months to really view them as anything more than a fringe playoff team at best. And that's got to be a disappointing feeling for the Warriors, and for Warriors fans around the league. But you pretty much have to make a big move or maybe a smaller move like a Vucevic and hope that works. These other moves, I don't see them mattering enough. John Collins, Valanciunas, Rob Williams, those guys aren't moving the needle. I would be trying to get KD. I think the timeline there is beautiful. And I will say, they added KD to the mix. All of a sudden, that team becomes very, very interesting. But I don't think that'll happen, and I think they'd have to mortgage too much of their future at this point, and I don't think they're going to do that. I mean, Draymond basically came out and said they weren't going to do that earlier this week. So, I don't know, man. It's a little disappointing, but it's understandable. All dynasties come to an end. All good things come to an end. And I think, unfortunately, the Warriors might be coming to an end as well. So with that being said, that's going to do it for the video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.